guys, what's going on? Sadiq. Welcome to Experiences with Sadiq. Season 2. Experiences with Sadiq is about all things real estate. A show where communication is key, advocating for the people is bliss, and knowledge, it's inspiring. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the show. And oh yeah, don't forget to follow me on all my social media platforms. Whether you're buying or selling a home, I'm that guy. Let's go! So today I'm sitting down with an individual. I'm not sure if you guys saw one of my podcasts from a while back where I interviewed a guy by the name of Sam Alba. And Sam Alba has a partner who's been with them since the start of launching this team and also owning, obviously, the franchise Remax Innovations, correct?
Sir.
And this individual, very, very humble individual. I give him a lot of credit because he's not one who walks around cocky or anything like that. He dresses extremely sharp. The dude, he answers any question that you may have, and he shares a lot of knowledge. You know, he's been in the game for some time now. And today, this interview is called Everybody Needs a Roger. And we're going to talk about what I mean by that and how important that is, you know, in the real estate game. But before we even start that, I need the man to introduce himself. You know, he needs to let people know who he is, where he's from, and what got him into real estate. Go ahead, my man.
Sadiq, again, appreciate you for having me.
Thank you.
Everyone, my name is Roger Duque with the Alba Group Remax Innovations. Born and raised in Rhode Island, grew up in Central Falls, so I'm a local Ocean State kid. Been in real estate for about going on 10 years. Started in Miami, Florida. Moved out there for a little bit, came back to Rhode Island, jumped back in the game. I know Sam since high school, went to high school together. So as soon as I got back, I knew Sam was doing his thing. So I reached out and said, hey, Sam, I want to get back in the game in Rhode Island. What do you think? And he's like, hey, I'm starting this team. And then pretty much the rest is history. Say no more.
Nice.
Been getting down, growth, expansion. Real estate has always been a passion of mine. But other than that, you know, born and raised in Rhode Island, like I mentioned, married. But this is what I do and this is what I love to do. I love working with people. And it's just a satisfying thing to do, right? You get with your clients, get them to that closing table. It's an amazing feeling. Yeah. And other than that, I just love working with people. Yeah. Love helping people learn, be better, succeed. Yeah. Because I know I was in a position at one point where I needed someone to help me out in the game. And luckily I had Sam to help me out. So I like to return the favor with whatever I know and try to, you know, spread the wealth and teach a little bit.
No, definitely. Sam's also one of those individuals that he's all about knowledge spreading. And when you spread knowledge, just basically spreading wealth. And I know you're an individual who believes in the same, I guess you want to say value.
Yeah.
You've been in the game for a decade now, just about, and you've been doing your thing. You serve clients really well. I see how you are around clients, and I respect that.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
But everybody needs a Roger, though.
This is true.
Everybody needs a Roger. You know, you're Sam's right-hand man, right? Before you became Sam's right-hand man, you know, how did it go about that Sam realized that he needed you, or he's reaching out to you to become his right-hand man to help him out? Well,
so I started in this business like a lot of agents do as an individual agent. You know, the team thing wasn't really something I knew about. When I started in Miami, unfortunately, the brokers that I went to, the mentorship program that they had wasn't really helpful. I struggled a lot. I was trying to do things on my own, learn on my own. So as an agent, it's very discouraging, right? You try to get out there, you kind of, you know, you're looking for some help, advice, and you're not getting it. So when I moved back to Rhode Island and jumped back in, the team was very appealing to me because I was like, wow, this can help me out. And as I mentioned, I've known Sam for some while now. And as time progressed, I saw his vision and what he was trying to do. The growth, the spreading the knowledge, helping people out. You know, this is a business that sometimes people don't like to share, right? Yeah. You know, they're like, oh no, I want everything for me and I'm gonna keep it moving.
Facts.
But with us, I feel like it's completely the opposite. We, you know, as cheesy as it sounds, we want everyone to kill it in the game. Yeah. Even if you're not on the Alba Group, you know, we're ready to help anyone out. So when I saw that, I kind of started stepping in that role in my own of like, you know, trying to help Sam out. And as you know, this business there's a million aspects to it. You know, a lot of times people see it on social media and it makes it look easy, right? We put up a sign, house is sold, that's it.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on within those 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes after extensions, 2 months, 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, I saw Sam was lacking someone that he needed to kind of take over certain things because it's hard to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
So with that being said, he never really appointed me to the role. I kind of just took it as my own.
Yeah.
And it kind of just kept moving since. And with everything that I was doing, Sam saw that I was capable of, you know, helping him grow the brand and the business. So we just kind of kept it moving from there. But you always need someone to be your right-hand man. Yeah. It's just better, you know, we can do a lot more together than on our own.
Facts.
So to answer at that point, it was just kind of like, once we came into Remax and we decided to open up this brokerage, Sam came up to me and we did have a conversation. And he's like, "Hey, look, let's do this. Let's partner up and make this thing a business that we may grow together and keep expanding." And it was without a hesitation. I'm like, "Let's do it. Let's keep it moving." That's
amazing. Now, a lot of people out there, they don't realize what goes on behind the scene.
Yeah.
Right. On the buyer agent side, seller's agent side, listing agent side, I guess you want to call it. There's a lot that goes on. But for those who don't understand, the critical aspect of real estate, usually a lot of time you have individuals that will help oversee a lot of the operations to make sure that client needs are being adhered to, you know, because at the end of the day, clients, we're here to cater to the client. There's this thing that I always say to a lot of my clients: I don't work for you. I mean, you don't work for me, I work for you, right? At the end of the day, because we're here to provide a service. So for you, Roger, I guess I want to understand, or the people want to understand, right? When it comes to catering to the client's needs, you know, what is your philosophy in regards to that?
Well, at the end of the day, like you mentioned, we work for our clients, right? They're our number one priority.
Yeah.
We're in a business that has a lot of moving parts again, and clients need to be explained and basically like a hand-holding through the whole process, because if you don't set an expectation and sit down with your client and explain what's going to happen, it's going to be like a deer caught in headlights, right? Yeah. You know, things are going to pop up left and right. Oh, inspections didn't go well. Appraisal didn't go well. Guess what? The buyer's financing may be
becomes a shit show.
Yeah, straight up. You know, it becomes a nightmare for the client because this is something that you and I do every day, but our clients, this is once every couple of years, right? Yep. For a first-time home buyer, this is your first experience. Yeah. For someone that bought a home and is selling it for the first time, it's the first time them being on that other side, dealing on that side of the transaction. So what I like to do with my team and the agents in general is you got to create the expectation from the first time you sit down with your client and walk them through. And the key thing that I did a video on this the other day, the 3 C's.
Yeah, I saw it.
Communication, consistency, and confidence. Yeah. Communication is key in anything. If you stop talking to a client after a day or two, to you it may be just a day or two, but to that client's an eternity. What's going on? Yeah. How come Sadiq hasn't called me? How come Raj hasn't called me? Is it the inspection? It's this. So communication is always key. So what I try to tell my team members is you want to follow up every day through the process, whether on the listing side or the buying side, because you don't want to keep a client in the dark. You always want to be upfront. So that's one aspect. And even sometimes I have my team members call me and have a question about something. Hey, how do I handle this situation? That's what I'm here for. Because sometimes we come across things that we never dealt with, right? Yeah. You know, something may come up, wow, I never dealt with this in a transaction. Who can I call? And that whether maybe myself, Sam, Danielle, anyone in the office, you know, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to try my hardest to get the answer. So with that being said, it's all about just always being there for your client, because this is a business that's a person-to-person business. It's not something that you kind of just let it go and kind of let it deal with itself, and then you kind of pop in every once in a while.
Now, with individuals that's looking to, agents that's looking to build a team and, build a team and start somewhere, right? Matter of fact, I'll go in there later. But single agent who's doing 30, 40 transactions, whatever the case may be, from your perspective, do you think that it makes sense for them to have a right-hand person that they could trust, that can help them, one, get further, and two, just have a better, smooth sailing process for their client?
I guess it all comes down to the individual, right? Yeah. Because there's a lot of people that like to micromanage and do things their certain way. They're kind of like, this is it. I don't want anyone to know what I'm doing. You know, it is what it is. But if your goal is to keep growing and turn those 30 to 40 transactions to 80 to 100, you're gonna need help. Yeah. You know, I'd like to drop a name here, Kyle Siebert. Yeah. Guy closes 500, 600 deals a year. Now, as you see, he has a Siebert team. He needs that support. He needs that help. Because I don't know how you would close 600 deals a year without having any help. So if you're planning to grow, you're always gonna need someone to give you that support. Because it's hard to manage, you know, let alone 30 to 40 clients, turn that to double. Yeah, it's almost impossible. Yeah. You know, you can't be everywhere in one, you know, at once. Facts. Whether it be inspections, a listing appointment, showings, whatever the case may be. So I think it's the best option is to leverage and give that opportunity to a teammate and, you know, expand. Yeah. Because without the help, it's you're gonna burn yourself out. Yeah. Because I know there's a lot of times that you see agents and you talk to them, what's going on? Oh, I'm going crazy. I'm overwhelmed. And this is an overwhelming business. It is. So with having a team, you definitely help yourself out, you know, not to be spread so thin. Yeah. So my thing is, I recommend the team all the way.
You know what's crazy? Because even when I launched my team this year when I launched it, I realized that it does get overwhelming once you cross into the double-digit number. You know, it does get overwhelming because now you're managing multiple clients, and it could get stressful in terms of because you're trying to meet the client's needs, right? So when I launched my team, and because obviously my Roger is Christina. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think she's dope. She's amazing, very smart. She's very well structured, right? And with me, especially when I have ideas or trying to do things, I'm very focused in. And I like to try to keep everything because everything's already processed in my mind already. Yeah. So sometimes trying to explain something to somebody, they don't get it, but you get it because in your mind. So I understand like how stressful it could be, and to release or relinquish, you know, some of that power to somebody else, you know, it's basically a fresher breath air. Yeah. You know, because shoot, at the end of the day, like, do I want to have a successful business or do I want a failing business? And obviously, the number one thing that matters at the end of the day is the clients. Absolutely. You know, so I guess my question to you, Roger, as you're helping Sam out and you're his partner and you guys build this whole team, right? What's your take in terms of how you guys structure the way you want your team to operate? Because Sam can only do so much. Yeah. But when Roger comes in play to help Sam out, what does that structure look like for you to make sure that you guys are thriving and staying sustained, you know, in this industry?
So that's a great question. I think the biggest thing and the key word is structure. With any business, no structure equals failure, right? Yeah. As real estate agents, we're always all over the place. Good. Without structure, you're not going to get anywhere. Sam was getting extremely busy. Our team was growing, and it was growing organically, which was pretty dope. We weren't really actively recruiting anyone. They were just coming, hey, we're interested in joining the team. The key thing is, again, I'm going to use this word, is the expectation. Because if you just let anyone join the team, one person can kind of mess up that whole chemistry, right? Yeah. So the biggest thing that I do is we have a pretty in-depth interview process when we sit down with agents. And I sit down, I present them with this binder and show them all what we expect from our team. You know, when it comes to trainings, educational seminars, you know, attending so many home inspections and, you know, how many deals we want you to do a year. And with that being set out there, you know, you want to see that the agent's willing to take that challenge. Now, I know that every agent's not going to come in the door and close 50 transactions their first year. So you got to be realistic. As long as you're there to help them out, you know, and support them, that's on them afterwards if they're not going to take, you know, advantage of what you're offering and take it to the next level. So I think the biggest thing is definitely sitting down and talking to the person you're trying to recruit. This isn't a one-time sit down. You got to sit down a couple of times, feel them out, see if it's going to work. Because when you're trying to thrive all together as a team, you know, if you have one team player that just wants to be the Michael Jordan and not pass the ball, what's going to happen? You know, the team's going to be unhappy. They're not going to succeed. So if you're there and you really create this aspect of everyone can help each other out and kind of like an open door policy, right? You know, not to be afraid to ask questions, you know that the team is going to grow and be successful. You never want it to be as that one person. And I'm going to bring up this conversation. I know it's been said before, you know, everyone knows Sam Alba as the Alba Group team leader, but a lot of people don't associate his name it's not the Sam show, right? And he makes that very apparent. It's never just about him. And we had a run-in, this was probably like 2 years ago when you first got into the game. We had a meeting with the lender about some products, a bunch of realtors at the table. I'm sitting down next to Sam, you walk in, you introduce yourself, you shake my hand, I say, hey, Roger Duque of the Alba Group. You say, oh, you're the owner of the Alba Group. Yeah, I seen you. And everyone in the room, you know, and trying to route things up. And Sam was like, I love it. Because the day prior, he created a post on Instagram that said, create a team so successful, you don't know who the leader is.
Facts. One of the best quotes I've ever heard.
Exactly. So, you know, for that to happen, it was almost like it was set up, right? Like it was staged. But that's the kind of environment you want. You know, you want everyone to feel equal and that they get in the same respect, the same type of treatment that every other team member is. Because without that, you know, you're gonna create something that just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it's crazy because even myself, when I'm in the office constantly, ever since I transitioned over from my old brokerage to Remax Innovations, I understand that I'm not under the Alba Group, you know, because obviously you guys have your team, I have my team. But you guys have an open door policy still. You know what I mean? Like, I can sit down working at the desk, Sam sitting right next to me, you can be in your office or you can be chilling at the desk, and we're just kicking it.
Straight up,
You know what I mean? And we're just vibing. And you guys, one of the things that I really appreciate about you and Sam is that you guys are not scared to share knowledge. A lot of people out there are scared because it goes back to what you're saying. I don't know if they're scared, but maybe more so just trying to keep their secret to themselves, you know, in terms of how they growing or how they operating, you know. With you and Sam, I could just sit there and just chill out. I shoot my idea, whatever case may be, and you guys like, listen, maybe think about doing it like this. Not like, go ahead, you should do it like this. It's about, why don't you just try to think about doing it like this, you know? And just creating that open door structure to allow individuals to walk in and just feel comfortable that at the end of the day, there's individuals who care for their needs and who cares for their dreams and visions. I'm a man with big visions and big dreams. People know that. And just knowing that you and Sam, you know, are there to make sure that I try to succeed, I think that's powerful, you know, because when it does come to team, especially I've heard stories from other agents where like they go onto a team or onto another brokerage and, you know, they sell them this whole big, they give them the red carpet treatment, sell them on this whole, we'll do this for you, do that for you. But then when that agent gets there, you know, they're left in the dark.
Absolutely.
It's like, shoot, how do I maneuver this industry on my own? How can I become successful? You know, and I think it's just dope how you guys are not greedy, you guys don't waver, you guys just keep to yourself. And I think that's dope about you guys. Do you think that even though some people like to keep things amongst themselves, and I do understand that you say you do believe that maybe leaders should have a Roger. And I do believe that too, you know, because without a CEO, there's no GM, there's no this, and that, you know. When you're sitting down, you're talking to an agent, right, and you're explaining yourself in regards to how you guys operate your operations, do you feel as if that agent, whether him or her, whatever case may be, should look at their future, one, in regards to where they could take it, you know, or should they just, I guess, just test the water and just see where it goes from there? From your own perspective as a team leader, I guess, how would you help them decide on how they should look at the future? That's what I'm trying to get at.
So what I like to do when I sit down with an agent is let them explore, right? You know, we're not the only real estate brokerage on the block, right? So I don't like to have someone just come in and, you know, you're amped up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to sign right away. Nah, go sit down with some other brokerages. I want to see what they have to offer for you and how you feel.
Yeah.
Because I don't want someone to make a decision based on emotion, right? Just kind of like a buyer, right? A buyer's all excited, they submit an offer, it gets accepted. Hey, Sadiq, you know what? I was a little too excited. I don't really want this house anymore, right? That's happened before, it happens.
Plenty of times.
So I kind of want to treat that the same way when someone walks in here. Because not everyone's going to be fit for RE/MAX Innovations, right? It may not be the way that they want to work. They want to do something different. But if you give the individual a chance to explore their other options, and then they say, man, when I sat down with Roger, nah, it's gonna work over there. I wanna go over there. That makes me feel a million times better because I know that they did what they were supposed to do, and we were the best option for them. So it's all about, you know, not forcing someone's hand. It's kind of letting them put the decision on themselves because I put all my cards on the table. This is what we have to offer. It's up to you to see what you wanna do. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, it might not be us. Which is totally fine because we try to create an office culture unlike no other. And like you mentioned, sometimes when you go to these brokerages, oh, we got this, we got that, the best technology, the best training program, we got mentors, they're gonna do this and that, and you go in there and it's like you can't hear anything. You know, you're sitting in the corner by yourself. But we have a few teams in this office and a couple of individual agents that we literally all sit down and try to put deals together, come up with ideas, which is kind of unheard of in this industry where if you're your own team, you only talk with your team. If you're an individual agent, you may say, oh, hey, I got a listen, I got this, whatever, but that's where it stays. So we're kind of trying to just change up how the real estate industry and stuff with the professions is looked at. And when you come to an office, we want you to succeed. We're not saying it just to say it. Like we really do. And that's something that when I sat down with Sam years ago, he's like, my goal is to make all my agents elite agents. And if they want to start their own team, I'm all for it, which is amazing because a lot of people wouldn't want to do that. They just kind of want to keep it all to themselves.
No, it's crazy because I remember when that day, the story that you were talking about, how I met when I first met you and Sam, and you told me, hey, why don't you just come down to our office and stuff like that and let's sit down and talk. And that there was no pressure whatsoever, you know. And I was like, nah, I'm not ready yet, you know. And there was other few brokers that reached out to me too. And I just wasn't ready, right? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to comfort and it comes down to not just comfort, but just being ready, you know, to make that next leap of faith.
For sure.
You know, because it really, when you're switching, I'm not the type of person that I really like to bounce around. If I'm going from one place to another, there's always going to be a strategic plan behind it. Because I do have an end goal, you know, and I always believe that every realtor should have an end goal, or any individual should have an end goal in whatever they're trying to pursue. And when you guys reached out to me to sit down with you guys, I was kind of hesitant, but I was like, you know what? Let me sit down with you guys, you know, because I've always respected, you know, what you guys are doing, you know, because you guys have a bunch of individuals. You're a strong minority-based team. Doesn't matter what race, color, gender, whatever the case may be. You guys are open door. You guys are just there to bring everybody in, and I respect that. And so when I finally made that decision, I was like, you know what? Let me rock with you guys. You know, and I think it's been the perfect marriage so far. And I just want to continue just seeing what you guys could bring to the table. If you were to share key knowledge, you know, to me in becoming a better leader, you know, from your experience and just other team leaders out there, you know, how would you, you know, guide, or what would you say to that individual in regards to becoming a better team leader or finding, and when they are a team leader, making sure that they find that Roger?
So I think the biggest thing as becoming a team leader is learning how to delegate. It's really tough for some people to let things go and, you know, have someone do something, right? even if it's working with a client and having a servicing agent, oh, this is my client. I don't know if I want to let it go. So that's one of the biggest things is learning to let go and being open, because if you're going to create a team and you're not going to have your team members do anything, what's the point of having a team? So that's the biggest thing, is kind of saying, am I ready to be able to delegate and let go, not let go of clients, but, have clients work with other agents or be able to take over projects that I'm just too overwhelmed to do. So that's the biggest thing. Number two is, getting that person or that Roger, right, is like you said, it's like a marriage. You got to have someone that's going to help you out on your weaknesses and, balance each other out, because Christina may be able to do things that you can't do and vice versa.
Facts.
So with that being said, you want that person that's going to be there and they see the vision. Because a lot of people can say, oh yeah, I'm going to be your right-hand man, I'm ready to go.
Facts.
and they leave you and they leave you out in the cold, It happens all the time. So it's all about, sitting down with that person and making this like a true, invitation to your world of real estate, Because if they're ready to go and jump in and they show you that promise, I'm saying go out for it. And you know what? It may not work out, but you learned from your mistakes. Okay, I had, John Doe come in and it didn't work out because this wasn't happening. But now I know with the next person I sit down with how to do it. So, you're not going to find that right-hand man right away sometimes. That may not be the case. It may take a couple of trial and error. But as long as you're open to let go and then that person has the same vision, it's easy enough. It can happen.
Do you think your vision aligns with Sam's vision?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we discuss things all the time, and we always had this vision of just growing and expanding and just kind of taking this everywhere. We have some things that are, tight-lipped, but we have some moves that we're trying to make.
Some big moves.
But, I think we always have, we don't agree on everything. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say that me and Sam, every time we sit down, we're like, yeah, high five, great idea. Nah, sometimes I'm like, nah, Sam, that's bullshit. We can't do that. And sometimes I'm going to say, nah, Roger, that ain't going to work. That sucks. Because it can't be, we can't agree on everything.
Of course.
But for the most part, we're on the same path and kind of want to reach the same destinations.
It's crazy how you mentioned how you guys don't agree on everything. As partners in this game, obviously, when you have two leaders, two alphas coming together and trying to make the world a better place, right? And you both have ideas or visions to help guide the direction of the business. When you guys don't agree, right, how do you guys come to that middle ground of agreeing on something without feuding? Because a lot of times when two individuals, two alphas feud over ideas or visions, they separate. It causes major conflicts. But how have you guys sustained yourself without causing conflicts and just finding a way to come together and agreeing on something that works for not only for both of y'all, but most importantly for the company and the business?
Nah, we just lock this back door, throw on the gloves, and just throw hands real quick. Nah, I'm kidding. Nah. As professionals, we've never gotten to a point where it's been anything of something like that. Like it has to be my way or the highway or vice versa, which is pretty great, because sometimes you have a stubborn person. No, it has to be this way. It has to be this way. When you kind of come together and say, we're trying to build this thing and we're trying to work together, we got to find a middle ground. I'm someone that, I may have an idea and think it works, it's amazing. And Sam's going to point out, hey, but, like you said earlier, we sit down, we talk, and he may say, no, we should do it this way and this way. And I'm like, all right, or vice versa. But it always comes down to a conversation. And the key goal is always for the betterment of the team or the office itself. So we always have that common goal. It may not be the same idea, or it may not be the way that I would do it, or it may not be the way he would do it. But luckily enough, we always come to a middle ground and just, by discussing pros and cons, this is the way we're going to do it. All right, let's do it this way. Because as long as you have the same goal in mind, it should be easy enough to work out. Because if you got that one person that's always my way, why are you on a team? Simple as that.
You know what's crazy? Both of you guys are very humble individuals. Sam's quiet. you're quiet in your own way, but I think you're maybe a little louder than Sam in a sense. But with both of you guys being so humble, I've always thought that, because I can be a hothead. You know, Christina, she knows how to take my level of a hothead and channel it back down to make sure that at the end of the day that we're trying to do something right. Do you think that, this is going to be a weird question, I guess. I don't think it's weird, but do you think that somebody who's a hothead, a leader that's a hothead or who's always on fire, do you think he should have somebody that's opposite from, because you and Sam are humble individuals.
Yeah.
There's really not much of an opposite between you guys. You guys walk around very humble, very confident, very assured of what you guys doing. But for a person who's very alpha-like, should that person, he or she, have somebody that's the opposite of them to make sure, you know, that at the end of the day, they're providing a service that could better the whole entire movement?
It's like the yin and the yang, bro. You know, I don't see it as hothead. I see it as passion. Yeah. You know, you're passionate about something. There's nothing wrong with that. Sam and I, Sam is definitely the quiet one. And I'm quiet, but I seem louder.
Yeah, facts. I noticed it.
But, you know, we're a couple of CF kids, man. We grew up in Central Falls, and like you say, we come from very humble beginnings. And as far as us, you know, complimenting each other, it's kind of funny because you would think someone would be a little, you know, a little stronger, or a little louder. It's kind of, you know, seeing us both kind of being the same. Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
But I think it is a great idea to have someone to be able to be looking from the other perspective. Because someone that's very, you know, emotional or passionate about something may not see things that your other team is going to see. So Christina, I already see off the bat when we all sat down that she's just a very cool, calm, and collective, and we need that sometimes. You know, if Sam and I were both hotheads, what's going to happen? We're going to be clashing all the time. You know, so I think it's definitely very important to have that other person that can look at things in a different way, in a different aspect, and, you know, sit down with you and talk to you, and they'll probably say, hey, Sadiq, you know, I know this is what you want. And then you're kind of like, hey, you know, you're right. Because if you were doing it by yourself, you're so hot, you're not going to be able to figure it out.
Facts. That's dope. And last, in terms of clients that's out there, right, that always looking for guidance, right, but they can't get what they need from the agent that's on the team, you know, do you intervene in regards to that? Do you think it's a key factor for you to intervene to help a client out?
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, you know...
Or should the agent take care of it?
We all have different personalities. I know there's been times that I'm working with someone and I'm like, I don't think this is going to work. Our personalities are clashing, or, you know, they may want something this way or that way. And I will talk to a teammate and say, hey, I want to introduce you to so-and-so because I think you guys fit together and work well together. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the client and them getting to that closing table or whatever they're trying to do. And if you feel that you are the one putting yourself in the way for them to get there, you know, kind of creating that, or whether it be the same client, you got to kind of sit back and say, hey, this isn't working out for X, Y, Z reasons. How can I help this and, you know, make the client feel good and our office know that we're doing what we're supposed to do? So why not talk to a teammate that I think can help that client out? You know, that's the whole team. I mean, the whole reason of having a team, to be there to help.
No, just creating that dynamic flow. I totally get it. If other individuals, other agents want to be able to talk to you and get more insight, you know, individuals that's looking to become team leaders, you know, because obviously it's always good to reach out to those that's been doing it for some time. I would like you to talk to the people, let the people share your contact with the people. Let them know how they can get hold of you for advice.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can call me, easy enough, 401-808-5611. You know, as a realtor, my phone's attached to my hip all day, in my hand all the time. If not, you can look me up on Instagram, Roger_the Alba Group _realtor, and shoot me a message, or look me up on Facebook. And if not, stop by at the office. I'm here every day. Sadiq knows I'm always up in here. We're always grinding. So we're at 289 North Main Street in Providence. So open door policy, come through. We'll chat, chop it up.
You guys know what it is. It's your man Sadiq, where communication is key, advocating for the people's bliss, and knowledge is inspiring.
But if you want to get a hold of me, you guys know where to find me. I know on my social media platform, on my brand page, Sadiq Davies, on my team page, the Davies Group. But if you guys love everything that you guys see, please follow and subscribe to my YouTube page, Experiences with Sadiq. Until next time, holla at me, get at me, whatever you need, I'll always be around. Love you guys, love, peace, and happiness.